Welcome to this special 7 News presentation, the Drugs in Footy Summit. Tonight, we've gathered the key stakeholders around this issue to discuss and debate the events of the past 9 days. It's been described as the darkest time in Australian sport. Over the next hour and a half, we'll find out just how serious it is. We'll go inside shortly, but first, this is how the story unfolded through the eyes of 7 News.
The strain was obvious on the face of Essendon legend James Hird.
I'm very disappointed, shocked, I think is probably the best word.
As a coach, take full responsibility for what happens within our football department.
The Bombers have asked the League and the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority to probe the possible use of banned supplements.
Oh, it's something that's probably unprecedented, I guess.
Did you have confidence in Dean Robinson?
I had confidence in our processes at our footy club that we'd get it right.
It's believed they were taken to a private house across the road from Windy Hill and injected in the stomach.
GHRP6 is believed to be the drug at the centre of the Essendon drug scandal.
The shocking revelations of drug use, match fixing and organised crime in our major professional codes.
The findings are shocking and they'll disgust Australian sports fans. It's cheating, but it's worse than that. It's cheating with the help of criminals.
If you are out there and you think that you can run the gauntlet of cheating in this system, whether it be to do with salary cap, the use of performance-enhancing drugs, gambling, etc., make no mistake, you will be caught.
We're still trying to prove our innocence and, letting the investigation travel its course.
Fresh details have emerged, with the AFL now admitting players at Essendon and another unnamed club may have been taking performance-enhancing drugs.
I guess everyone's implicated until otherwise shown.
It has got the potential to taint all sport and all athletes and all clubs.
Please remember that not one of our players has tested positive for any banned substance.
The integrity of our game is of the utmost priority.
The Players' Association's believed to be prepared to go to court to protect its members, arguing that the Essendon players are innocent victims.
This is a rude awakening for a lot of people.
There was always detailed discussion with the head coach, James Hird. They had intravenous injections for vitamin B and vitamin C, nothing else. Intravenously, no. There were some differences, obviously, in what we offered the coaches. There were a couple of coaches that were using some supplements, if you like, that were a little bit outside the wider code.
So this is not a widespread problem in our code. Have faith in the game and come along and watch your football team play.
A number of parents arrived here at Windy Hill. Top of the agenda for their questions tonight, how on earth the club allowed these players to be injected with what could prove to be banned performance-enhancing drugs.
As a group of parents, we've come away feeling that the club obviously has our son's best interests at heart.
It's sort of foolish to think that, Essendon were the only club that were looking at, these sort of programs.
There's an investigation that's ongoing. We're working with that investigation and we're certainly not going to provide any commentary on that investigation.
What a story it's been. Tonight, we're giving you an opportunity to join the conversation on Twitter. Simply #DrugsInFooty. And throughout the show, we'll also be giving you the opportunity to take part in polls through Yahoo 7. Now, time to begin proceedings. Let's cross to our moderator, Bruce McAvaney.
Mitch, thank you very much. It was a dark day last Thursday. A lot of water, I guess, has flowed under the bridge. Maybe not quickly enough for some. It's been frustrating. I think a lot of people have been angry. It's been pretty confusing. Well, tonight we're going to try and push the story forward a little. I'm surrounded by 14 people that have a great interest in sport, but in particular tonight in the AFL, and one of them includes the CEO, Andrew Demetriou. Andrew, I want to start with you tonight. Can you give the fans out there a guarantee that there'll be 18 teams playing in the home and away season for the entire 2013?
Oh, I would say so, Bruce. At this stage, we've got nothing that indicates otherwise. I think there's an ongoing investigation with the Essendon Football Club. That's a process that's in place. It's a process we should allow to continue. It's going through the right channels. Essendon approached the AFL and ASADA to conduct an investigation. They've agreed to collaborate, and that's what they are doing. And we also know, as we've made public, there is potentially one other player at one club who may have partaken in the use of performance-enhancing drugs, and that's it. And I've assured people that there's no widespread problem of performance-enhancing drugs in our sport. Supporters should come along and watch their football team and have faith in the game, because the game, to the best of our knowledge, with all the information we have, is a very clean game.
Andrew, last week your chairman, Mike Fitzpatrick, said that the AFL lost faith in wider testing about 12 months ago. Yet you've said, and you sit here tonight and say that you have full confidence that there's...
And tonight we're giving you your chance at home to voice your opinion through the our online polling at 7sport.com.au. Sam, you're conducting the polls. What's your first question?
First question, and public perception is so interesting, Bruce, in this whole issue. First question, has the government overblown the so-called darkest day in Australian sport? Jump on to 7sport.com.au. Simple yes and no. Let us know and we'll update you.
And we'll give you the results of that question and the others coming up throughout the program. After this, Essendon.
The Bombers have asked the League and the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority to probe the possible use of banned supplements by its players.
As a coach, take full responsibility for what happens within our football department.
It's believed they were taken to a private house across the road from Windy Hill and injected in the stomach.
We're still trying to prove our innocence and, letting the investigation travel its course.
The coaches were sort of well aware of, what was happening.
As a group of parents, we've come away feeling that that the club obviously has our son's best interests at heart.
It'd be sort of foolish to think that, Essendon were the only club that were looking at, these sort of programs. So there was always detailed discussion with the head coach, James Hurd. They had intravenous injections for vitamin B and vitamin C, nothing else intravenously, no. There were some differences, obviously, in what we offered the coaches. There were a couple of coaches that were using some supplements, if you like, that were a little bit outside the wider code.
Tim, I'll start with you. You're in a unique position. You have a significant role as a media commentator. You're an Essendon legend. You're the father of the current captain and Brownlow medalist, and you're a very good friend of some of the other major players. On a personal note, just how difficult has the last week been for you and your family? What toll has it taken?
Well, just to answer your first question, or just your statement there, I've had a quick look around. I think I am the most conflicted person here tonight by a long way.
We all agree.
I haven't done all the background checks, but I'm pretty sure I am. Look, I think that there's been enormous toll that has been the result of what's taken place over the last week or so. I saw David Evans, our chairman, on Monday night when he addressed the parents. And I think David's probably lost about 8 or 9 kilos in the last week alone, and he's taken leave from his business. He's working full-time on clearing the names, firstly of the AFL or the Essendon players at Essendon. And James Hurd too. I mean, James and I go back a long way. We're friends, and David and I have been friends for a long time.
Sam, you asked a question of our viewers earlier tonight. Have you got an answer?
I do. Kate Lundy's not going to like it, unfortunately, Kate. Has the government overblown the so-called darkest day in sport? It's an overwhelming response. 86% have said yes, 14% no. So next question, and the buck's got to stop somewhere at Essendon. I think that's fair to say. It's been asked this week, does it stop with James Hurd? So question here's a pointy one. Should James Hurd be sacked?
It's at the sharp end, isn't it? So that's your second question tonight. We'll take a short break. We'll be back and we'll be talking about drug testing and just how effective it is.
We've been working on integrity for a long period of time. The world's changed. We felt that the wider testing was relatively successful until about, I guess, about 12 months ago. And it's become clear today that it's not.
I had this exercise where, because I kept hearing, I'm a drug cheat, I'm a cheat, I'm a cheater. And I went and looked up, I just looked up the definition of cheat.
Yes.
And the definition of cheat is to gain an advantage on a rival or foe, that they don't have, or that, I didn't view it that way. I viewed it as a level playing field.
Lance Armstrong, obviously. Lance Armstrong there with Oprah Winfrey. Ned, you didn't like the last question, did you, before we went to the break?
I just think there's some responsibility in the media reporting things correctly. And for Sam to throw up a question, should James Hurd be sacked, once more goes to essentialising the whole thing. I mean, it's a disgraceful question, and while the whole things going on at the moment, why you'd throw that up there to the public should vote, just don't respond and wait for the next question. I mean, the main thing here also that I think we missed the mark is that 2 or 3 weeks ago, The issue on
Sam,
this...
good news or bad news for James Hurd tonight?
Well, we shouldn't make light of it.
No.
And every daily newspaper, it should be said, has debated this question all week. That's why we've asked the question tonight. Are you annoyed with Ned? No, I'm not. I'm not at all. No. So the result of that poll is that 82% believe that James Hurd should absolutely keep his job. 18% say he should not be sacked. Oh, sorry, other way round. I've got it confused. Next question in our poll. Do you believe your AFL team is entirely clean?
So there you go. Do you believe your AFL team is entirely clean? We'll take a short break and we'll come back and we'll talk about the relationship between organised crime and elite sport.
If you are out there and you think that you can run the gauntlet of cheating in this system, whether it be to do with salary cap, the use of performance-enhancing drugs, gambling, etc., make no mistake, you will be caught. And after today, make absolutely no mistake, you will be caught.
Good evening. Sports lovers across Australia are reeling tonight after shocking revelations of drug use, match fixing and organised crime in our major professional codes.
The findings are shocking and they'll disgust Australian sports fans.
If you want to cheat, we will catch you. If you want to fix a match, we will catch you.
It's cheating, but it's worse than that. It's cheating with the help of criminals.
Graham, how widespread is the relationship between organised crime in Victoria and elite sports people?
Well, organised crooks, organised crime people, they love sport and like a lot of Victorians, and they like to be closely associated with sportsmen, particularly elite sportsmen and women. So they will look to try and get involved with sports where they can, and certainly investigations we conduct from time to time, and when we're looking at organised crime figures, we do see links to elite sport and on occasions AFL. But they're mostly, the stuff we see is really around the illicit drugs, not performance-enhancing drugs so much in relation to what we see. Look, I thought before there's been a bit of talk about the ACC report, and I think we've got a copy of that report and we've had a read of it. It does talk about those links, and I'm not sure how much the ACC have actually told the AFL about that, but certainly what we see there, it certainly does make those sort of associations clear. We've asked for more information that sits behind it. Where are the transcripts? Where are the testimony and the information they're relying upon? We've asked the ACC for that, and we expect that we'll get that. And I know
they need to be at the table of all these discussions.
Sam, we'll come back to you. Thanks, guys. The question, the answer from our poll, from our viewers out there.
Was the perception of whether fans think their clubs are clean, and it's an important one, even if it is a perception. The result, I think, is good news. 62% say yes, they believe their club is entirely clean. So to the next one, have you seen performance-enhancing drug use at local level footy? Because this is where some people are saying, and informed people are saying, that perhaps the use of performance-enhancing drugs is actually more prevalent than at the top level.
And we'll give those results a little later in the program. We'll take a break again. We'll be back and talking about the future of footy.
It's hard to know exactly how they all feel about it. I know my own son, you know, I'm not quite sure they exactly understand exactly what it all means.
Hence why the absolute commitment at this level to let them know that it's all about working together, about commitment, about becoming better people and to eradicate anything that's unlawful or illegal.
It's devastating for what's come out. It's devastating for the public image of sport.
It's been a lifelong dream of my sons to play AFL football. Having said that though, if this isn't investigated thoroughly sooner rather than later, there'll be a lot of questions asked. They've already have made jokes about the Essendon Football Club, and when the time's right, we'll sit down and talk to them about it, because it's not about hiding the problem, it's about confronting it and dealing with it effectively.
Keep building a culture that isn't just about winning.
I think drugs across the board, they're going to be available. The kids are going to be exposed to them, and I'll put money on it, they're going to be offered them. And so it's going to come back to the parents and educating them to address that.
You know, drugs are a big problem in society. My son's coming up to 14 years old. Now, as he gets older, he's going to be confronted with these kinds of things on the social level as well as, you know, any professional sporting level. So I sort of worry about that, yeah.
Learning about being part of a team, about having self-respect and self-discipline. And if we teach those values to the kids, the sport's going to be fine.
Andrew, I've just been thinking, you know, the season starts basically tomorrow night. We're on the eve of the season. How do we get through with all the enthusiasm and passion that we have? We know that the ASADA investigation is going to take a long time. That's a cloud that's going to be hanging over the 2013 AFL season. I mean, what do you think about all of that?
I was particularly taken by the last person who spoke then, Bruce, because I think he's absolutely right. I mean, I think our sport is just an incredibly resilient sport. You know, it's been around for in excess of 100 years.
Taking these substances because they're trying to emulate their heroes. They're trying to be the best that they can be and taking their own shortcuts to do it.
Sam?
I think we've got one final poll, Bruce, and I think it's going to the heart of where footy is, because of course if footy doesn't have fans, I don't know if we've really got footy. Will this doping story stop you buying a membership or going to the footy? Log on and tell us what you think.
Well, it's been a big night. We've had some great comments. Andrew Demetriou will conclude the night with some thoughts after this.
To the best of our knowledge, with all the information we have, it's a very clean game.
And my message is, let's get to where the problem is and not tarnish all of the sport through this problem.
Testing alone will not catch everybody who is involved in breaking sporting rules.
In 10 years, I've never even heard talk of this before.
You sit down and you have a chat to your son and you ask him all the pertinent questions around the allegations that have been levelled at the Essendon players.
There was always the clear understanding anything that goes in a player's mouth must be ticked by the club doctor.
They might not have been on a banned list, but they might not also have been approved for human use. That is an unacceptable situation that we'd all agree.
That's why it wasn't the darkest day, that's why it was a bright day, because these are advances.
It was a turning point.
Committed and we're actually able to achieve great things, and then to have it plastered on the back of a newspaper questioning all those efforts really hurt.
Depending on how we deal with this as an industry, there could be a lot of positive things that come out of this.
Welcome back, Steve-O from 7 News. I'm going to give you the last question tonight.
We'll go left field a little bit. I was shocked at reports and claims that coaches would take a banned drug. I know that they're not playing, but a banned substance. What sort of look is that for the competition and for the players under the coaches, Andrew?
Look, that's a claim that's been made, and you know, it's part of that interview on the 7:30 report. I'm not going to comment on the claim because it is that it's a claim, and to this point in time, it's unsubstantiated. But as a general question, I don't think anybody would condone or think it's appropriate that coaches or people in senior roles of authority who have got young people under their watch would think that that's a good look. And it's certainly something that we would be very disappointed about.
Can you investigate that, Andrew, as the AFL for maybe even bringing the game into disrepute?
Look, again, I'd say is the competitive nature of sport, and people want to see their sport pure. They want to see their sport pure, and nobody, don't care who it is, no one should ever compromise their values and cut corners to win. And that fellow summed it up before when he said we try to teach people about competing, try to teach them about how good they should feel about themselves, what it means to be in a team. Those are wonderful qualities. They're wonderful values. And that's what our sport's about. It's what our sport's traditionally been about. And the sooner we get back to that, I'm sure that the people will continue to come.
Well, it's a great note to finish on, actually. Thank you to everybody here tonight, and thank you, Andrew. If you want to continue to follow this story, and I'm sure you do, tune into 7 News weeknights at 6. Good evening.